نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Respected viewers and listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In continuation of our Quranic understanding program, we shall try to recite, read, and simultaneously understand a few more verses from chapter number 2 in a systematic manner. That is, today we are studying from verse number 67. Verse number 67, chapter Al-Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and the most merciful. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ. Recall when Moses said, Moses once said to his people, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ, that really Allah commands you, أَن تَذْبَحُوا بَقَرَةً, to slaughter a cow. قَالُوا, they said, أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا, do you take us in ridicule? قال, Moses said, أعوذ بالله, I seek refuge with Allah, أن أكون من الجاهلين, to be among the ignorant ones. قالوا ادع لنا ربك. Still they said, O Moses, you call upon your Lord, يبين لنا, so that he makes clear to us, ما هي, what kind of cow this should be. قال, Moses said, إنه يقول, surely he, that's Allah says, إنها بقرة, that it should be a cow, لا فارض ولا بكر, neither too old nor too young, عوان بين ذلك, but of middle age. فافعلوا, so do ما تؤمرون, what you are commanded. قالوا ادع لنا ربك. But still they said, O Moses, you call upon your Lord, يبين لنا, so that he makes clear to us, ما لونها, what should be the color of the cow. قال, Moses said, إنه يقول, verily he says, إنها بقرة صفراء, this cow should be yellow in color. فاقع لونها, bright and shining. تسر الناظرين, pleasing to the beholders or onlookers. قالوا ادع لنا ربك. Even after that, still this asked, O Moses, you call upon your Lord, يبين لنا, so that he makes clear to us, ما هي, what kind of cow this should be. قال, Moses said, إنه يقول, verily he, that's Allah says, إنها بقرة, it should be cow, لا ذلول تثير الأرض, which is not trained to plow the fields, ولا تسقي الحرث, nor the cow which has not been used for irrigating the fields. مسلمة, perfect, لا شية فيها, without any blemish or any defect. قالوا الآن جئت بالحق. Then at the end of it, they said, O Moses, now you have come with the truth. فذبحوها, yes, they slaughtered it. وما كادوا يفعلون, but they were hesitant to do it. They were not ready to do it or willing to do it. وَإِذْ قَتَلْتُمْ نَفْسًا, and recall that time too, when you slay a person, فَدَارَاتُمْ فِيهَا, then you disputed in this matter. فَوَاللَّهُ مُخْرِجٌ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْتُمُونَ, Allah had to bring up forth or make clear for you what you were concealing. فَقُلْ نَضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْضِهَا, then we commanded you that strike this dead body with a part or an organ of this cow. كَذَلِكَ يُحْيِي اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَى, this way Allah brings dead back to life. وَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ, and makes clear to his signs, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, so that you understand. ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ, then your hearts hardened even after this. فَيَكَ الْحِجَارَةِ, they became like rocks or stones. أَوْ أَشَّدُ قَسْوَةً, or even harder than that. وَإِنَّ مِنَ الْحِجَارَةِ, surely among the stones, there are some لَمَا يَتَفَجِّرُ مِنَ الْأَنْهَارِ, from which gush out streams or rivers. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَشَكَّكُ فَيَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ الْمَاءُ, and some rocks split and water comes out. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَحْبِطُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ, some rocks tremble and fall with the fear of Allah. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ, and Allah is not unaware أَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ, of what you do. صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ. This is the story of cow explained here. This, I hope you remember, once we started this chapter, Al-Baqarah, that time I told you that this chapter is named Al-Baqarah because there is a story of cow mentioned at a place between verse number 67 to 71. This is the story. And name of this chapter is derived from this story. And what is it? Children of Israel lived in Egypt for a few centuries, 400, 500 years, since the time of Jacob and Joseph, when Joseph became king of Egypt, and the children of Israel came on his invitation. His father, his whole family, his brothers, their wives, their children and grandchildren, everybody, they migrated from Palestine to Egypt and lived there. And they were there till the time of Musa. It's around 400 to 500 years after that Joseph's time. And we know that. I did not explain time and again that how Allah was so kind, because these Jews, the children of Israel, were living a desperate life in Egypt. They were subject to the worst kind of physical, psychological, economic, and financial torture by Pharaoh and his armies and his people. And finally, Allah took pity on them when they repented, started asking for forgiveness. And Allah was so merciful and kind to them that a baby was born among children of Israel. The life of children of Israel was worse than animals in Egypt. They were reduced to pulp. They were subject to all kinds of hardships and atrocities. And after some time, Allah was so merciful to them. A baby was born who was going to be Moses, their deliverer, who freed them from the clutches of Pharaoh. When after a long struggle between Moses and Pharaoh, when finally Allah commanded Moses, okay, now take out, you need not seek permission now from Pharaoh to liberate the children of Israel. You take them secretly, children of Israel, your own nation, from Egypt, and you migrate back to your native land, that's Palestine. And Moses followed the instructions. He took out them, and then after some time, they were followed by Pharaoh and his mighty army. Then we know how miraculously, when under the divine command, Moses struck the Red Sea with his staff or with his stick, and that turned out to be a dry path for them, and they crossed the Red Sea. And when Pharaoh also tried to follow them, he got drowned with his armies and all armaments. Now the children of Israel, after reaching other part they continued their journey towards their promised land, that's Palestine, through deserts, Arabian deserts. They continued their journey. And all what we're studying for quite some time, these are events which took place during that long desert journey. And this is also a part of it. That Moses once commanded children of Israel to slaughter a cow. But they hesitated. They were reluctant. Why were they reluctant? It is said that since the children of Israel lived in Egypt for centuries, they had lost their own identity, their faith, and they were now the immoral lot. They had imbibed many religious beliefs of Egyptians, and they were influenced by that, terribly influenced. Among that was Egyptians were star worshippers. They used to worship animals also, including heifers, calves, and cows also. And this had a tremendous effect on the minds of children of Israel. So they also started revering these animals, taking them as gods. So in order to remove all these effects of idolatry, Moses, under divine command, asked them to slaughter a cow. But they were hesitant. They thought that maybe we do it, earth may burst or heavens may fall, and we may be punished for this act, because their faith was so weak and wavering. Even though Moses was with them, he was their leader. They had put their faith in him. But since they were not perfect in faith, which we have been studying time and again, I need not to repeat all this thing. This is a great manifestation of their faithlessness. That why is Kaleem Ullah, when Moses said to his people, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tadhbahu baqarah, that Allah commands you to slaughter a cow. What they did, in the first instance, they said, They qalu attatakizna huzwa. They said, "Oh Moses, are you simply making a joke of us? Do you take us in ridicule? Or even that, are you making a laughing stock of us? Why should we slaughter a cow? What is going to come out of it?" It was simply they were hesitant. They had lost faith. They thought, if we do this, maybe something extraordinary happens. We may be punished. As I told you, maybe they thought earth may burst or heavens may fall. They were hesitant. They said, that's why they said, do you make us a laughing stock? Do you make us in ridicule that we should start to watch? Moses said, "Oh, people, what is your problem? I am not telling you that I am commanding you to slaughter a cow. I told you, Inna Allah yamurukum, that it is Allah who commands you. And I seek refuge with Allah to be among the ignorant people. Don't you take me as your leader, as your prophet, as your well-wisher, as your commander, as your deliverer. I delivered you from the clutch of Pharaoh and his people. And still are you making this joke out of it? I seek refuge with Allah to be among those who are ignorant." But still they were not come, they were hesitant. They started these were only lame excuses. One excuse, otherwise, when the first command Moses gave them, they knew what kind of cow, what particular specific breed of cow Allah wants them to slaughter, because that was a specific breed which was generally used for worship. But they simply tried to avoid by their excuses. Firstly, asking him, "Oh Moses, on your behalf, you ask Allah that what kind of cow it should be." Moses said, "Yes, I know that, because Allah has already told me, explained to me that it should be a cow neither too old nor too young, but of middle age. So do what you are asked to." They were still hesitant and reluctant. They didn't want to follow this command. They were apprehensive about it. They said, "Oh Moses, you call upon your Lord so that he makes clear to us what should be its color." Moses said, "Okay, I know that too. Allah has made me known that fact too. That Allah said that it should be a cow of yellow color and bright and shining, bright colored, and pleasing to the onlookers. That's the cow which they used to worship and revere." Still they tried to avoid it. They started asking Prophet, "You call upon your Lord so that he makes clear to us, in short, what kind of cow it should be." Because they had no question now left, no argument left. But still Moses said, "Okay, I'll tell you. Allah commands you that it should be a cow which is not trained to plow the fields, not used," because in Middle Eastern countries and North African countries, as we see here, in India, Pakistan, this part of the world, we use bulls and oxes for plowing the fields. But sometimes cows, strong-bodied cows are also used, specifically in North Africa, Middle East, and others. He said it should be a cow which is not trained to plow the fields, nor should be a cow which is used to irrigate the fields, because cows were used to lift water from deep wells. It should not be that cow. Then, at the end of it, they said, "Now, oh Moses," because they had no argument left with them, no question with them. They said, "Okay, now we have come with truth." So they finally slaughtered the cow, but they were reluctant. They were not ready to do it. That's the story here. I repeat the story. I hope you will understand it well now. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ, recall when Moses said to his people, "Ya qawm, O people, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tazbu baqarah," that verily Allah commands you to slaughter a cow. Qalu, they said, "Atattakhizuna huzwa, do you take us in ridicule?" Qala, Moses said, "A'udhu billahi an akuna min al-jahilin." I seek refuge with Allah to be among the ignorants. Qalu ud'u lana rabbaka. They said, "Oh Moses, you call upon your Lord so that yubayyin lana, he makes clear to us ma hiya, what kind of cow it should be." Qala, Moses said, "Innahu yaqulu," verily he, that's Allah says, "Innaha baqaratun la faridun wala bikr." It should be a cow, neither too old nor too young, but of middle age. Awanun bayna dhalik faf'alu ma tu'marun. So do what you are commanded. But still, they said, "Qalu ud'u lana rabbak." They said, "Oh Moses, you call upon your Lord, you bayyin lana, so that he makes clear to us, ma lawna, what should be its color." Qala, Moses said, "Yes. Innahu yaqulu," he says, Innaha bakaratun safra. It should be cow yellow colored. Faqul lawnaha, bright and shining color. Tasurun nazirin, pleasing to the onlookers or to beholders. Still they said, O Moses, you call upon your Lord, you bayyin lana, so that he makes clear to us, Mahia, what kind of cow it should be. Because in Al-Baqarah tashaba alayna, to us all cows looked alike. It was just an excuse, nothing more. Wa inna inshallah la muhtadun. Oh, I missed this part of the verse translating before. Wa inna inshallah la muhtadun. Surely we'll be, with the will of God, we'll be rightly guided. That surely we are going to do it. Then Moses said, Moses said, Innahu yakulu. Well, he said this, Allah says, Innaha bakara, it should be cow, la zalulun, tusir al-ard. The cow which is not trained to plow the fields. Wala taskil hars, nor is used for irrigating the fields. Musallamatun is perfect. La shiyata fiha, without any defect there. Then at the end of the day, they said, now, O Moses, you have come the truth. فَذَبَحُوهَا, so they slaughtered it. وَمَا كَادُوا يَفْعَلُونَ, they were not ready to do it. They were quite reluctant and hesitant to do it. Then, the other part of the story. What had happened? So you know that already explained. The children of Israel were divided into 12 tribes. How? Because Jacob, or Prophet Israel, which other name for Jacob, Yaqub, he had 12 sons, and their progeny, their offspring spread. With the result, the children of Israel finally got divided into 12 tribes. And this tribal rivalry existed in them, even after accepting faith and following Moses at a specific period of time. But still this tribal rivalry was there, prevalent amongst them. So what happened during their journey when they were traveling from Egypt to their land, Palestine, when they were asked to slaughter the cow. During this time, once it happened that a person was found killed or slaughtered. A person was slain, killed. So they started to dispute who killed him. The people of his own tribe, the person from which tribe the person was killed, suspected, because they had rivalry with some other tribe. They thought it should be the person from that tribe. So their tribal tension started rising. And they started taking to swords. And it was almost that there would have been killing and bloodshed. And then Moses told them, you have slaughtered a cow now. Okay, see the miracle of Allah Almighty. Maybe it should have resulted in a tribal war, a bloodshed and killing of many innocent people. That's what says, Quran says, why is qataltum nafsan? Recall when you killed a person. Fadaratum fiha, then you disputed in this matter. You disputed who did it, and you started blaming that tribe or this tribe. And swords were drawn. Wallahu mukhriju ma kuntum taktumun. But Allah had to make known what you were concealing. So what Moses commanded them? Fakulna. Quran says, we said, that we said through Moses, idribuhu bibadiha, strike this dead body who has been killed by a piece or an organ of the slaughtered cow. And they did it. Under Moses' command, they did it. What happened? Quran says, كَذَلِكَ يُحْيِي اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَى. Thus Allah brings dead back to life. So it already explains between the lines that with this strike, when the dead body was struck by an organ of that slaughtered cow, he was brought back to life. He became alive. And when he was asked, who killed you? He said, yes, I was killed by such and such person. Incidentally, ironically, the person whom he had killed belonged to his own tribe. So swords were withdrawn, no bloodshed, and peace prevailed, and the person concerned was punished, and there was no tribal rivalry. And slaying of cow didn't result in any punishment, but it was for their betterment. That's the other part of the story of cow. When you killed a person, فَدَّارَاتُمْ فِيهَا, then you started disputing therein. Wallahu mukhrijum ma kuntum taktumun. But Allah had to make known what you were concealing. Fakul nadribuhu biba'diha. Then we said, strike this dead body with a piece of this slaughtered cow. Kadhalika yuhyillahu al-mauta. The dead was brought to life. This way Allah brings dead back to life. وَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ, and shows you His signs, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, so that you understand. So that you understand, and your hearts soften for faith. And you see, the children of Israel had lost, they were faithless people, they were disobedient. They didn't follow Moses in letter and spirit. They hurt him time and again. And they had lost faith even in the life hereafter. This miracle even showed them how Allah can bring dead back to life. The Quran says, so this miracle was shown to soften your hearts for faith, so that you become faithful, you attain faith again and strengthen your faith. But that was not to be. You are such a bad lot of people that despite all this, instead of your hearts softening, your hearts got hardened. You became more faithless and evil people. The Quran gives an example. You became worse, harder than, your hearts became even harder than rocks. The Quran gives an example for even among rocks gush out rivers. We see it happens. And sometimes a rock splits and few drops of water come out. And some rocks tremble with the fear of Allah and fall down. But not your hearts. Your hearts, even you see with your own eyes such miracles, such great favors. Right from man and salwa, shade of clouds, and providing water, and this miracle of the miracles, or dead coming back to life. These events were shown to you so that your hearts would soften for faith, but it didn't happen. Your hearts became harder than even stones. That says, Summa kasat qulubukum min ba'di dhalika. Then your hearts hardened even after that. Fayakal hijara. Your hearts became like stones and rocks. Aw ashud kaswa, even harder than that. Wa inna min al hijarat, because among the stones, lama yatafajjaru min al anhar. Sometimes even streams and rivers gush forth. Wa inna min al hijarat, wa inna minha lama yashakkaku. And some rocks split, and fayakhruju min al ma, and water comes out. وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا, among the rocks are some لَمَا يَحْبِتُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ, which fall due to fear of Allah. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. That means, but your hearts are even harder than stones. You are stone-hearted. You have become a faithless lot. This is the story of Quran. Says, وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ, but Allah is not anywhere عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ, of what you do. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم والحمد لله رب العالمين.